listening to the Weekly Rant. And now, here's your host, Jimmy.
Awesome song. Alright, welcome back. It's a 44th episode. I'm Jimmy. You're watching the Weekly Rant here. As you see, Steve is not here today. Steve will be back once in a while, but for the time being, just going to be me, Jimmy, your host. Hopefully you enjoy. It's the first solo show. We'll get into the rundown here, but first, just to let you know, what's going to happen here is we'll be doing our shows now from 8 to 8:30, and again, today's not a live show. Today's show is just going to be pre-recorded as a trial to see how it goes and do some edits afterwards. But the shows are going to be from 8 to 8:30, sometimes 8 to 8:45, give or take. They're not going to be a full hour show from now, but they will still be Tuesday night shows. And again, for the information that you want to find, you can still call on the show, 609-975-9689. And yeah, I'm not used to giving these tags. So Steve always did the tags, and I gotta get my own business card here to look at it to get the tags going here. But, and also youtube.com/Jimmy's Rants, and you can find us on Facebook / The Weekly Rant Show. So again, what's gonna happen here is we'll be doing our shows Tuesdays, and when we do the shows Tuesdays, basically what's gonna happen is 8 to 8:30, 8 to 8:45, yada yada yada. We're also gonna do a segment at the end of the shows, what to watch for during the week, just a brief recap of what's gonna happen throughout the week. And coming up on Friday, we'll do another show. The Friday show, again, same thing. That'll be as well, in 8 to 8:30, 8:45. It'll be a week recap and really what's going on the weekend. And then back to Tuesday again, we'll recover the weekend that had just happened. But for starters, already we got some big news. Coming up, as I mentioned before, I will be going to Buffalo the weekend of September 20th to cover the NYPD Buffalo Finians Gaelic football match. It's a rematch they played earlier in the year for an exhibition match at Gaelic Park in the Bronx. And I'll be going to Buffalo, as with the NYPD. We'll be having the game at UB College, which I'm stoked for. It's going to be fantastic. But the big news is this Sunday we'll be doing a show. So already we're going to have 4 shows in 6 days. And this Sunday we'll be doing a show with ex-Buffalo Finians captain, I'll say he's still a current player, but he was last year's captain, Antonio Grazzi. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm stoked. It's going to be great to have him on. We'll be able to talk about what's going on for the game in September. It's going to be great. So that's going to be the new format, though. I'm looking forward to it. Again, Steve will be back every once in a while. We'll have some guest hosts every once in a while as well. And when we have someone on, we may run the episodes to be about an hour. So it's going to be good. But as far as today goes, everybody, here's the rundown. I just gave you the new format. We're going to talk about the Yankees briefly. These clips are going to be much more brief than the average show that we typically do. So basically, I'm going to talk about the Yankees and how they're hot. They got 5 games in a row, and they're making a run. You know, they did it last week, and we'll talk about it again. Fantasy football. I know a lot of people have been doing their drafts. I just had my draft this past weekend, and yeah, I got made fun of left and right for some of the picks. I'll tell you those picks as well. But everybody's been doing their fantasy football. We'll give you an update on 2 of the current players that people have been watching out for, and then some. Tiger fires his head coach. What's going to be his next move? So we'll get into that as well as the Barclays had just wrapped up. And speaking of Barclays, Hunter May had finally ended his 0-for-46 streak, I believe it was, in a PGA Tour event. He just won the Barclays. So we'll talk about that and what's going to happen with Tom Watson too. So look out, that's big news right now. Also, we have USC. This didn't make the headlines as much as I personally would like to have made, but we'll talk about USC and their star senior cornerback, Joshua Shaw, and what he had done over the weekend. which was just extremely heroic. I will be going back to my rants. We will be doing a rant every week. New topics here and there, as you know. It's just the way it's going to be. So, and finally, we'll get into, like I said, what to watch for the rest of the week. So, it's going to be tough, It's, like I said, this is my first show. So, my first show by myself. It is a 44th show. It's not the first show where I don't know what I'm doing. Of course, I don't have the knowledge that Steve has. He has the crazy knowledge where he sits there, doesn't even write anything down, and I don't know what he does, actually, but it just grows on him. He just knows everything. Boom, 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 boom. And I just sit there and I make fun of him and look at him like a wacko because he knows all the NFL coaches. I'm sorry, that's absurd. So, anyways, we got the format down. Now, the Yankees. The Yankees today, this is actually pretty big. They got a big series right now at Detroit Tigers. And tonight, actually, the Yankees are going up against Rick Porcello, who is 14, I believe he's, 14-8. Now, he's been a star for them. Their whole rotation has been fantastic, except for Verlander. Verlander's still just, I think he's 10-10, the 4 ERA is garbage. I don't know what's going on with Verlander there, not making the progress that everybody thought he would, especially signing that big monster deal. So the Yankees are looking for their season-high 6th win of the season, and that could not come at a better time, because after this series, they're going up against Toronto, and that's going to be a monster series. Right now, they're only 2.5 games back from Baltimore. They're sitting second in the East, and as far as the Tigers go, they're sitting second in the Central, and they're just a game and a half behind Kansas City, who the Yankees just put a romp on last night, 8-1. So that was good to see. Yankees finally got some runs on the board. They've been pretty quiet, but they're looking good right now. And as long as they can keep up this pace, they could make a run for the second wild card. You got a lot of teams looking for that spot as well, so it's going to be tough. They need to really stay healthy. And what really helped them out was sweeping the White Sox. That was a big series for them, especially what they did on Sunday. McCann came in, was first and second, and McCann came in. Cervelli was supposed to get up. All right, they had walked Headley, and they took up Cervelli. And next up, here comes Girardi saying, Cervelli, you sit down. Cervelli sat down, and here comes McCann. And looking pretty good. McCann had his day off, coming in for a pinch hit. And what did he do? Knocks it out of the park. Yankees win 7-4 in a game that was just back and forth. And they even romped up Chris Sale, too, previously. But McCann hit the first pinch hit, walk-off home run that the Yankees have had since Giambi did it back in 2008. That's a pointless little stupid stat, but hey, it's just something to put out there. That, if you could have McCann come in and get the hit that you need, this is what they brought him in here for. This is exactly what they did. They want that power out of a catcher, which is a power that they haven't had in a while. And boy, if this was going live right now, I'm sure people would be calling in, because when I mention power and catchers, and I say lack thereof, they'd probably be all over me and talk about Posada. I don't care. I've always hated Posada. I believe I actually had a rant about Posada this past year. But anyways, so McCann came in. He got the job done, and that's what was most important. That's what the Yankees looked for. And you got to hope that he can continue this coming down the stretch. We got a big week coming up, though, because with the Yankees, they're coming down. They're playing Brandon McCarthy's pitching tonight. He's 5-2. Ever since he came in for the Yankees, he's been phenomenal. He's done everything that they had asked for, and you'll like to see that out of him. You really do, because tonight, like I said, they're going up against Porcello. So he's 14-8. It's going to be a big matchup tonight, and I look forward to seeing that. Then tomorrow you have Shane Green and David Price. Now, David Price is new to the Tigers. And I believe last time David Price came in, he was actually at Yankee Stadium, and Yankees took care of business against him. But it was a pickup that the Tigers needed, because now they really have this extravagant pitching staff. So he's 12-9, and that's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be a great game. Shane Green as well. He's been all right, been doing good. But Thursday's the afternoon game. Thursday's going to be Hiroki Kuroda, 9-8 versus Kyle Lobstein, who doesn't have a record yet. I believe he only had one start through a couple of innings. That was it. And then Friday's the big series. They're going up to Toronto, where Capuano is going to play pitch against Mark Burley. So, that's a series that really they have to sweep. They have to come out of this series, and they need to take 2 out of 3 against Detroit. And they need to take 2 out of 3 against Toronto. They need these games. They cannot come out of this without less than 4 wins, if they want to stay in this here. And that's going to be very big for them. So we'll see what comes of that. Yeah, the Mets, forget about them. But the Yankees need to get their act together, and they have. They won 5 in a row. They're going for their 6th tonight. Who knows? It'd be nice to see them come out of this and get 10 and 15. They need to play 600 ball just to make the playoffs from here on out. And we'll see how that works out. So anyways, fantasy football, as we'll move along here. For fantasy football, everybody had their picks lately. I know some of them have their last couple of leagues going on. But I had the 6th pick. We'll talk about my fantasy football league that I had over the weekend. You saw us post up some pictures from the 2nd annual weekly Rant fantasy football league. It's the 2nd annual, although we only have our 1-year anniversary here coming up on October 1st. Just because last year, it trailed into it, so we're going to call it the 2nd annual. We had a few people involved in it from the show, so we'll carry along with that. So my pick was a little awkward, I guess, the way I went about it. My first pick, I was 6th overall, and I had Marshawn Lynch as the first pick. And I looked at it and said, it's beast mode. He's got to be ready. He's continuing going. He is one of only X amount of players, I believe it's 3 or 4, who's had 3 consecutive years of 300 touches on a ball. And when you break down the stats, they show that 4th year coming up, they just plummet. They just drop off being the running backs. And you got to watch out for one thing, because Marshawn Lynch really is a very physical running back. His yards after contact are absurd. They are unbelievable, but I took him because, he's a very physical athlete. Like I just said, he works out more than anybody that I know in the gym that you see on TV when they cover all these athletes. And he's a very strong runner. I mean, there's nothing that can take this guy down, and I'm jinxing the crap out of him right now. He's going to break his leg. Ben Tate is another running back that I took. Ben Tate is also very injury prone. That's the downside to Ben Tate. Between his ankle, his back, his hip, his shoulders, his feet, everything, he gets injured. But he's also very underrated, because when he's healthy, the guy is one of the top running backs in the NFL. And one thing you got to look at with Cleveland is their 2 quarterbacks. Obviously, they have that quarterback situation with Brian Hoyer and Johnny Manziel. Who's going to start when they're expecting Johnny Manziel to possibly get that start in Week 4? So in the meantime, with neither of them having much of an accurate arm, you know what? Watch out for the running game. They're going to power up that offensive line and see what they can do, because I'm sure they feel that really their attack is going to be the ground attack. So Ben Tate, I thought, was a great pickup there. A.J. Green, how can you go wrong with A.J. Green? You have your top wideouts. You have your Calvin Johnsons. You have your A.J. Greens, like I just said. You have Alshon Jeffries and Brandon Marshall. All these top receivers. A.J. Green fits right into the mix. Alshon Jeffries, I actually had picked up in the 4th round. I was pretty happy about that. But the only problem with Alshon Jeffries is the team that surrounds him. Now, you have Matt Forte back there, so he's going to get a lot of touches on the ball. But at the same time, how many touches is he really going to get? Because with Jay Cutler, you know what? He's looking at Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall is the top receiver, set just ahead of Alshon Jeffries. So I think it was a great pickup for a wideout, because that is the number 1 tandem in the NFL. They're going to get a lot of touches together, so I did like that. My tight end situation is a little unorthodox here, what I did with Martellus Bennett. Martellus Bennett, same thing. Martellus Bennett is really the back end of the deal here when it comes to the Bears, of how much he's really going to see of anything. He's obviously going to be their biggest slot receiver, and he's a pretty big target for the red zone offense. So that's one thing I took him up for. I haven't decided. I'm probably going to start him. And the reason why I say probably start him is because the one player I did take is I did take the rookie out of North Carolina, and Eric Ebron. So you're looking at him with his quarterback and Matt Stafford. Yeah, he's got Calvin Johnson. Yeah, he's got Reggie Bush. But someone to throw him off guard, he's got Eric Ebron. Now, he's got those 2 other tight ends that he's going to be fighting for a spot with. But this guy comes out with so much hype. I thought it was a great pick, and it wasn't too late. So I kind of looked stupid for picking him early. I believe I got him in the 11th round. But still, it was one of those picks. I think if anybody knew anything about him, I had to get him. Reggie Wayne, yeah, the old bag can still play. You're looking at Andrew Luck down there. You're looking at T.Y. Hilton, who's going to get the majority of the catches. But, Reggie Wayne, he's quite reliable. And the one thing that I really looked at when I wanted to pick him up was last year, he was actually the 9th highest targeted receiver in the NFL. So, hey, I guess they don't care about his age. He can still do it. Chiefs defense, yeah, last year they were great. Are they going to be the same this year? It's one of those things when it comes to fantasy and fantasy points, you don't know what to expect. You can't predict anything. You can try and you can do everything you can, and yeah, there's those top 3 players who you can predict are going to be quite well. But when it comes to defense, you just really don't know. But I did take the Chiefs after last year and even the year before. They were a pretty good team. Dan Bailey is the kicker, and Dan Bailey led the league in percentages of kicks for field goals over 50 yards last year. So that was a definite, because you don't know what Tony Romo's going to do, how much he's actually going to lead his offense down the field, if even that much. My quarterback, Nick Foles, great year last year. Everybody knows what he did last year. And going in from week 9 to week 17, he actually led all fantasy in 24.9 points per game. He led them in points per game. And yes, that's going above and beyond what Peyton Manning did and also what Jamal Charles did. So I like it. I really do, and you got to base a lot of fantasy off the previous years and make sure that it was a healthy season, that they had nothing crazy in the offseason, and you really can't make too many bad moves. The bench, Steven Jackson, he is 31 years old, and you don't know how much he's going to have because they have that whole story on when you're 30 and over, running backs tend to die out very quickly. Yeah, how can you not believe that? Of course. And you also have Matty Ice out there, and his number 1 target coming back is Julio Jones. So what kind of load is Steven Jackson going to get? We're going to find out, and that's why I have him on my bench. I think it's a reliable pick for the bench. Cecil Shorts in Jacksonville. Chad Henne just got nominated as their quarterback, all right, for week 1 at least, so we'll see what's going to happen there. Cecil Shorts had a mediocre year last year, but going down in Jacksonville, who knows? We'll see what the hell he can do. Chris Ivory for the Jets, the running back. He's going to be going up against Chris Johnson. Now, you know what Ivory did when he was with New Orleans. Great, fantastic. Chris Johnson, the both of them together, actually, they're showing some real speed. They're showing like they really still have their game together when it comes to the Jets. And the Jets' offensive line, honestly, through preseason, their number 1 offensive line really showed to me that they're going to be good this year. Now, I do actually have the Jets going 5-11. I'll break that down in a minute. But with Chris Ivory, I think it's going to be more the ground and pound because Chris Johnson will actually get you down the field. He'll get you those 30, 40, even 50-yard runs. Chris Ivory can slam it up the middle. So I'm looking to have some more touchdowns from him. And that's why I wanted to pick him up going against teams that have really a softer defensive line. So we'll move with that. Corey Washington. I got to double check and see if Corey Washington still made the team. I know he's still with them. I believe the cuts are this Thursday. So I'm praying Corey Washington makes his team for the Giants, the wide receiver. He's the rookie, the undrafted rookie, rather. And he's looked phenomenal. The year that he's had so far for this preseason resembles that of Victor Cruz from 4 years ago when he was just tearing it up with touchdowns left and right. The problem here, though, is these touchdowns for Corey Washington, all but one have come from Ryan Nassib, the backup quarterback from Syracuse. Now, is he going to fill in for Eli? I honestly think Tom Coughlin may start Ryan Nassib at some point or another. If he doesn't start Nassib, I can guarantee, I'll bet anything, guarantee that he's going to come in at least for a second half, 4 games. Eli clearly is shot. He's done. He doesn't know what he's doing in this offense. You know what? Nassib gets the offense. I really think that this whole streak of starting games without being, injured or whatever, but consecutive starts, I really think that this is exactly where that streak needs to be broken. Get Nassib in there behind center, and he can do some work because he's understanding this offense. And when it comes to Corey Washington, this 6'4", oh boy, he gets up there. He can get anything. He actually reminds me of when Plaxico was with the Giants, of when you had Amani Toomer over there, of even Manningham of 2009. He's looking great. He has no fear in anything. He'll go up there. He will get the ball. He's had 4 touchdowns. He's had 3 game-winning touchdowns. The guy's unbelievable. Yes, I know he has gone against a second offense, third offense. He's out there. But you know what? It doesn't matter what he's going up against because now he's standing out as one of the star receivers on the team that can run this offense. Never mind who he's going up against for a minute. Just pay attention to the routes. The new routes that Ben McAdoo, the Giants' offensive coordinator, is putting out there, he's understanding them. He's running them perfectly. The timing is there. And again, yes, there's that chemistry with Nassib and Washington. But at the same time, you have to actually be able to follow through. You need to be able to execute this offense. And that's something that he's doing. So to pick up Washington, I believe I got him in the 14th round. I personally think it's a great pick, should he make the team. Because that's going to be a very big target for him. So we'll see what happens there. DeAndre Hopkins, he was a rookie last year with Houston, and it's kind of mediocre. He had 2 touchdowns last year. I think it was 700 yards receiving. But I look for him to have a little bit of a bigger year, okay? I don't think he's going to have that sophomore slump. I think he's going to be quite noticeable around the league. So he was a late pickup as well. I already told you about Martellus Bennett. And I actually had Alex Smith as backup quarterback. I decided to drop him. I don't have a solid reason for why I decided to drop him. And everybody knows how much I hate Johnny Manziel. But I did pick up Johnny Manziel. I picked him up to be the quarterback. He certainly is not going in anytime soon. And I'm not even going to put Johnny Manziel in Week 4 if that's when he's predicted to go in. I need to see him play. I need to see him get a full start. And quite frankly, I'm not sure that when he does go in, if he's even going to stay in the game. It all depends on who they're playing, when he decides to go in, or at least when they decide to put him in. I'm going to watch him play before I throw him in. So that's fantasy football for now, at least my picks. Hopefully everybody else has some good picks. I'll tell you, but I came in last place last 2 years, so I'm hoping for a good turnaround, and that's probably not going to happen. But I did want to mention this real quick. Went through the picks with a couple of guys in the league from fantasy football. We broke down the Jets and Giants, and just to rattle them off real quick. For the picks that I have for the Giants, I got them going 5-11. Now, I kept saying on the show previous weeks that I think they're going to go 4-12. I put some thought into this one. I gave them one extra win. Not that it's going to matter, but yeah. At Detroit, they're going to lose. Arizona, they're going to lose. I want to compare this actually to, I believe it was 5 weeks ago. We broke down both Jets and Giants. I think I had the Giants going 10-6, 11-5. Unbelievable. Lost at Arizona, lost at Detroit, lost home to Arizona, and they're going to beat Houston when they're home week 3, week 4. I got 3 consecutive losses coming up for the Giants when they're at Washington, home to Atlanta, at Philadelphia. They're going to get a win at Dallas. That win that they're going to get in Dallas week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Week 7, how can they not? They're 5-1 in Dallas at the new stadium. They absolutely own that facility. So I think they're going to get a win there. Week 8, Indianapolis, home. We're going to get a 4-game losing streak. Home to Indianapolis, at Seattle, home to San Francisco. I also think they're going to lose home to Dallas. That's 4 losses in a row. They will then follow that up with back-to-back wins when they go to Tennessee and when they also go to Jacksonville. Flop that around. At Jacksonville, at Tennessee. They're going to follow that up with a loss home to Washington, which means Washington will sweep them. That's also going to hurt their potential chances, if this is right, for any playoff hopes whatsoever. They're going to split with Dallas, though, so we'll see what happens with that. Then at St. Louis, I have them as a win. And, of course, ending the season, they're going to lose to Philadelphia in Philadelphia. That could be a playoff game for Philadelphia if they do not play as well as they're predicted to play. So that'll be a game they're going to want to win and play much harder than the Giants. The Giants do typically play better on the road, but we'll see what happens. The Jets, break down them as well. The Jets, I have them going 5-11. They're going to open up the season with a win when they play Oakland at home. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have the Jets going on a 6-game losing streak following that up. And they go at Green Bay, home to the Bears, home to the Lions. They're going to go at San Diego, back home to Denver, and they're going back up to New England. 6 losses in a row. I don't think there's a chance. I didn't even hesitate on this, and this is not me being biased, because quite frankly, I think the 5-11 Jets are going to be better than the 5-11 Giants. Follow that up, they're going to go home. Buffalo with a win. They're going to lose at Kansas City. They got back-to-back wins coming up that I predict. Home to Pittsburgh, at Buffalo. That means that they will sweep Buffalo, season sweep. So that can help them out a little. Probably not. They're going to lose at home to Miami. I got a win at Minnesota. Go figure. They just named Castle their quarterback. So, Tennessee, New England, Miami, the final 3 games of the season. At Tennessee, home to New England, at Miami. Loss. 5-11. We'll see how that works out. Man, the show kind of sucks without Steve, doesn't it? I got nothing here. All right, so I'll move on to Tiger Woods now. Tiger Woods, he just fired his head coach, Sean Foley, after 4 years. And yeah, it comes at, I don't want to say great timing, but for Tiger, it comes at great timing just because he's not playing the rest of the year. His next matchup is not going to, at least he's predicting that his next matchup is not going to be until the World Challenge in Orlando next season. And Sean Foley was with him for 4 years. And yeah, he got his 8 wins with him. He was kind of quiet. But you got to realize that Tiger was injured most of that time. So is it deserving really to fire Foley? You know what? If you're going to fire Foley, it's got to be because you're injured, you're out. If you want to get better, Tiger, you need to sit out. You need to sit out, and you need to get better. Go through the rehab. Quite frankly, get a new swing coach, and I hope that next swing coach says you need to cut back on that violent swing. That is what's doing most of this damage to you, aside from Elin breaking into your wallet. So Tiger fires his coach after 4 years, and he doesn't have a timetable, per se, for this coach coming up. I think he should bring back Butch Harmon, because Butch Harmon. Everybody knows what he done. So he has no timetable for the coach, but I do want to go over quickly here what he's had with these coaches. Now, this being Sean Foley, this was his third coach in his career since breaking into the PGA in 1996. Now, with Butch Harmon, who he's had from 96 until 2003, he had 8 major wins in 24 starts. That, I think right there, that's never going to be touched. That record in itself. Amazing. 0 majors missed. 34 titles in 127 starts. I saw that stat and said, wow, that's incredible. And obviously, yes, it is. There's no way to downplay it. Unless you look at what Hank Haney did. And that's not writing the book about him. What I mean about Hank Haney is from 04 until 2010, 6 years. 6 major wins in 23 starts. 2 majors missed, the 2008 British Open and the PGA Championship as well in 2008. But what I look at, now with Butch Harmon, you had 34 titles and 127 starts. With Hank Haney, you had 31 titles in 93 starts. That's a 33.3% winning percentage. And no, I suck at math. I did not do that at the top of my head. I just remembered it. So, a winning percentage of 33? Really? In golf? Incredible. Sean Foley, no major wins in 13 starts, missed 4 majors, the 2011 U.S. Open, the British Open, 2014's this year, Masters and U.S. Open. 8 titles in 55 starts, and they're all just miscellaneous titles. Can Tiger win again? In both of the shows that we had done over at Stonebridge with head pro Ian Wilson, that's Stonebridge Golf Links and Country Club in Smithtown, New York, we did the U.S. Open show, and we also did the British Open show. And my opinion didn't change either time about Tiger Woods. Will he win again? No. And I even said, will he win again in general? I don't think he's going to win anything again. Now that he's taking the rest of the year off, and he's getting healthy again, and he's going to work out harder, change his whole habit around and his routine, if he can find that coach to change his swing mechanics to that of a normal person and not kill himself, yeah, he's got a potential to win again. Can't forget, he is aging. So what's he going to do? Where is he going to stand in this pack? Again, when you have players like Jordan Spieth, when you have players like Ricky Fowler, you even have, obviously, you have Rory. These players are the up-and-coming young players of golf. Can he compete against them? Those are things that the new coach is going to have to come in and retrain him and prove that phrase of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You got to change that up. Get Tiger to play back to what Tiger was. You got to remember, when Tiger is out there, even though you know he's not going to win, right now, you know he's at least going to bring money. He's going to bring more fans. He's going to bring that media attention. And without Tiger, the world is looking at those of Adam Scott's, Ricky Fowler's, Rory McIlroy's, which is not a bad thing. I think people now are actually putting Tiger behind him. But if Tiger can start getting back to his winning ways with a new coach, look out. I think it'll be pretty good for it. So that's one thing I look out for the sport. And speaking of which, Hunter Mahan ends his 0-46 PGA Tour drought while winning the Barclays this past weekend in New Jersey in Paramus. He makes the Tour Championship. He's actually the only player to never miss a playoff event since the FedEx Cup started back in 2007. Hunter Mahan actually didn't even come in to day 4 looking good for the lead per se, because you had Jim Furyk and Jason Day who led the leaderboard. Now Jim Furyk did what Jim Furyk does best lately. He just can't close in the past couple of years. He's known as one of the most prolific putters on tour, but he cannot close. He just can't stay with it. He had that one shot, I believe it was on 14, where it rolled off the back of the green and right into the rough, and the first cut is maybe 4 feet, so he's kind of screwed there. He had a great chip to come out of it, though. made the putt. He needs to get his game straight. He really does. But now going back to Hunter Mahan, he closed this final round at 6 under with a 65. That, for him, had to have been one of his best rounds ever, not scoring-wise, but for the meaning of it. And the meaning of it was Tom Watson. Tom Watson has 3 captain's picks coming up. He had, obviously the team has 9, so there's going to be 12 players on tour here for the Ryder Cup. But with what Hunter Mahan did this weekend, especially winning this, to me, I think it's a lock for me to the third and final pick for Tom Watson. It really was a strong impression. And how you cannot pick him right now, you want to pick that player who's coming in hot. I think it's Mahan. I really do. And I think Tom Watson sees it. September 2nd, I believe, is the release of the picks. But speaking of releases of Madden 2015, I think it's today. I have no idea. I think it's today. And if so, I'm going to go out and get it right now. So I'll have to look up that in a minute, and we'll see. Also, we have Joshua Shaw I wanted to jump into here. As we're already coming to the close here of the show, and this is awkward. You know, it's just not the long show that we used to have. So, Joshua Shaw, he's the USC star senior cornerback. And I was flipping through my phone the other day, going across all the sports news and what's going on in these stories, and prepping for today's show. And I noticed he has 2 high ankle sprains and he's out for the season. Okay. So what? I don't really ever go into injuries for college athletes on why, especially if you see 2 ankle sprains. Great, who cares? He probably snapped in a scrum of some sort. Until I read that he had leaped from a 2-story balcony to save his 7-year-old nephew. I thought to myself, what the hell is this all about? What did he do? Well, it actually turned out that his nephew was by the pool, apparently unwatched, unguided, and I don't really want to get into parental supervision here, or lack thereof, but he jumped from a 2-story balcony, looking down, seeing his nephew crawling towards the pool. Couldn't swim. The nephew could not swim. He's going to drown. Seriously, where the hell is anybody? Why is no one watching this kid? He jumps, breaks basically both his ankles, has the ability to crawl now to the pool, jumps in, saves his nephew, gets his nephew out of the pool, crawls out of the pool. Honestly, if that's not a hero, I don't know what is. Really, let's think about that for a minute. You're out there, you're saving a family member. He actually came out afterwards even saying he didn't care if it was a family member or anybody else. He still would have done it. That just goes to show, to me, I think that needs to be a real role model. That kid now needs to come out, and since he's going to be out the rest of this year, you know what? Get that head of yours a little bit bigger. Go around to all those high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, colleges, anything. Go around. Tell your story. The world needs to hear this story. It is absolutely just unbelievable that you sacrificed, knowing that you're going to get hurt from jumping from 2 stories up. You sacrificed your senior year at one of the most well-known colleges, and you're ranked, the Trojans, they're ranked 15, and they're starting their season this Saturday up against Fresno State. But, you know you're going to get hurt. And you put your life on the line, career on the line, to save someone, that's awesome. Kudos to you, man. The world should be thankful for you to have someone like you here, ready to do something like that. It really is unbelievable. Hopefully the NFL sees that. I didn't really look too much into your career and what you've done before that, if you could be a player to be drafted. But that's awesome. Really, that's just awesome. So again, yeah, they'll be going up with Fresno State this weekend to start their season. Ranked 15. We'll see what happens. So, anyways, this is the close of the show. I think this has been about 40 minutes, actually. Surprised I can even talk for 40 minutes, to be honest with you. But, you know what? Hey, here's the rant. We'll just jump into it.
You can tell everybody, yeah, you can tell everybody, go ahead and tell everybody, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. Yes, I am, yes, I am, yes, I am. I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man.
Okay, so this week's rant, or at least this episode's rant. This rant is going to be on athletes and special treatment, which I find so disturbing. Trying to figure out, hey, how can I open up the show as the first solo show for a rant on topics? Well, you know what? Let me steer away from my Yankees, who I always just crap on. Let me steer away from the Giants, who everybody knows my opinion as a Giant fan. Everybody knows my opinion on the Giants. Josh Gordon, okay? The Browns wide receiver, Josh Gordon, he had his trial set. Now it's being moved to November. Now, should the NFL actually decide to suspend him for the rest of the year or not? Totally separate stories. Because the NBA, the NFL can suspend him. No matter what. They can do this if they want. The whole court issue, separate issue. I think the court is going to come back and say, no punishment whatsoever. Goodell is going to suspend him the rest of the season. But still, this is unbelievable. It was a DUI. You know, these athletes get this special treatment. They get away with murder. Literally. A.K.A. O.J. Simpson. Dante Stallworth, 30 days in prison. I don't care if that was a deal worked out with the family or the fact that the suspect, or whatever you want to call him, was drunk and not walking in a crosswalk. You know what? Dante Stallworth got 30 days for murdering someone. Plain and simple. And of course, look at Ben Roethlisberger for his sexual assault type of deal. Even with Kobe Bryant. Even the Duke lacrosse team. Yeah, they got taken away their sport for a year or two, but you know what? Still, the players themselves should have been prosecuted for something. And also, obviously, you want to look at Ray Lewis and the double murders. Plaxico Burress shooting himself in the leg, gets 2 years for a gun charge. Gilbert Arenas gets a halfway house for a gun charge. The average Joe Schmo would be put away, plain and simple, and that's it. We are not all treated equally. It's when you have money, you get power. And it is absolutely ridiculous. All these stars, celebrities, athletes, if you're a known name, a known commodity, you will be treated. And it's stupid. It really is stupid. I'm sorry. You should be looked at person A, person B. Yeah, I get it. Innocent until proven guilty. Don't mention anyone's name, though. Don't say it's a star. Don't say it's a celebrity. Don't say it's the running back for New York Jets. No, it doesn't matter who the hell you are. It's what's your previous record? This, that, ba. This is where I need Steve to back me up on this. Because I guarantee you, Steve would totally agree with me on this. That all these players get treated differently from the public. And it's, I don't like it. I don't care for it. I think it's stupid. It really is. But I think it is a true story that with money comes power. And something needs to be said about it. Nothing will ever be said about it. Anyway, so that's the rant. Now, what to watch for this weekend coming up. And again, we will be here on Friday and we'll be here on Sunday as well. Again, with special guest and Antonio Grazzi, who plays for the Buffalo Finians, as he will be here in town. And we'll talk about that matchup that happens on September 20th between the Buffalo Finians and the NYPD. So that's going to be fantastic. But as for this week, the remainder, and the upcoming weekend, you're going to want to watch for the Yankees series beat Detroit, following up with Toronto. Huge series. The U.S. Open for tennis in Flushing, that's going on now. That's going all throughout until Sunday, so we're looking forward to that. The Giants' final preseason game versus New England. And you also have the Jets' final preseason game against the New York Jets. So that's that for now. I really hope you guys enjoyed the first show. Again, we'll be back here again on Friday. And Friday's show will actually be a recorded live show that will be at 8 o'clock. We'll be here again on Sunday. I'll let you know what time on Sunday, on Friday. And we look forward to having you guys back again. So, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed.